Hey everybody, Dimitri here with Serg Supply, and we're going to talk Promaster ceilings. Let's dig right in. This video is very exciting for me. This video is very exciting for Promaster owners because, as you may know, if you are a Promaster owner, there's not a whole lot out there for Promasters, and the few things that are out there kind of industrial and don't look so good. And we've had Promaster kits for a long time. They're currently all undergoing some pretty serious overhauls, as you might see behind me, and some pretty serious improvements, which leads me to this video. The whole purpose of this video is to announce the re-release of our Promaster ceiling kit for both, not just both, but the 159, the 159 extended, and the 136. As of right now, this is just high roof models. We've changed some things. Now, our customer base has been very kind in letting us know that this ceiling kit that we had just wasn't good enough. And they were right. We listened to you guys, we made some improvements, some iterations, and now I'm proud to say that the Promaster, as well as the Transit and the Sprinter, are all fully Rivnut based kits. What exactly does that mean? Well, if you aren't familiar, being a Rivnut or PlusNut based kit allows you modularity, allows you to pull panels down one by one or remove a row to service something without having to put everything back. One of the worst parts of van conversions in the Promaster industry is that everybody seems to be using nails, glue, or wood screws, or self-tappers. Those just don't hold up in the long run. And our previous kit prior to this was a wooden furring strip that was held in with Rivnuts, but then we would shoot panels into it. So you'd lose some headroom. This right here would be touching for me usually in a standard Promaster 159 high roof with a thick furring strip underneath. It wasn't so kosher. And to be honest, it would shoot in great the first time, but if you ever had to take those screws out to service something, those holes would widen out, and with time, it just won't stand the test of time. But the beauty of having PlusNuts, Rivnuts, is now you have a threaded medium that you're going into. So if you need to take things down, you put it right back in with a little bit of Loctite, it's just as good as new. One other major benefit to this is that all of the cabinetry from the Serg Supply and now the Rigwell lineup is going to be compatible with these channeled slots and holes on your ceiling. So that means no more shooting wood screws through your cabinets into your roof. You can use the same exact Rivnuts with longer fasteners as your walls and your ceiling to mount your stuff. Now, walls still need a little bit of work. We'll get to that in another video, but let me tell you a little bit about the underbelly and what's underneath this ceiling so it'll make a little bit more sense. If you're not familiar with what Rivnuts are, this, ladies and gentlemen, is a Rivnut. And typically the way you would install a Rivnut is by getting one of those hand crank tools or one of these guys from Astro Pneumatic. Let me see if I can get you in the shot here. This is what happens when you crush a Rivnut in a factory hole. Bam, look at that. Now, that's really all good and well when your factory holes are nice and round and able to drill out to exactly the right diameter you need for your Rivnuts. But Promasters are a little funky. If you own one, you know, if you look at the ceiling, those holes aren't round. They are rectangular, and they're a pain in the butt to work with. Now, we can source all kinds of crazy hardware to make this a little easier, but instead, what we've done is create a aluminum furring strip style system for the entire ceiling. That means every single beam on this kit is held on using threaded, not Rivnuts, but PlusNuts. I showed you Rivnuts already. Let me show you what a PlusNut is. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a PlusNut. I'm going to attempt to use it on this tool. There's another tool that we use. It's linked in the description below. It's specifically designed for PlusNuts where this reach, you'll notice if I can get you looking down the barrel here, let me get out of the shot. Maybe focus will play along. Come on now. Come on. No such luck. Okay, down the barrel, you want the thread of the tool to grab all the threads of the PlusNut, otherwise you risk ripping out just the bottom. This tool does not work with PlusNuts. We use a different hand tool. It's really not that much worse. It just has a longer thread pitch so that you can reach on these. But let's see if I get lucky here. I can show you what a PlusNut looks like when it crushes. There we go. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. PlusNut. Look at that. So that's the idea. Let me put this out of the way here. So the idea is that this PlusNut is going through the aluminum. I know this one's already flared out, but it's going to be able to crush itself onto the beams up above. Now, every single one of these beams goes into a round factory hole, aside from beam number 2, which has its own special furring strip. They all line up perfectly centered with the beams every single time. You don't need to worry about that. And for the remaining rectangular screws, you just use the included 3/8 step bit to very slightly widen out that rectangle to give you enough space to squeeze this guy through and crush it on, which means that by the end of this, you have 9 plus nuts crushing onto your ceiling that are holding everything nice and rigid. And more importantly, they are threaded locations for you to now go back and mount all your ceiling panels. And in practice and in reality, this looks really freaking good. I'm not going to lie. Sorry in advance for whoever's going to be picking that up. But the main things I want to stress here is that this kit is now 1,000 times better, and it's solely because of your guys' suggestions and your feedback. The second thing is the difficulty to install this hasn't changed much. It might take a little bit longer now that you're not using wooden furring strips, you're using metal, so you're going to have to be a little bit more precise in your drilling and stuff. The third final thing that is something to think about is that when we give you this kit, Rivnuts are pretty predictable. They crush pretty straight. Plus nuts, they tend to move sometimes their own way as they crush down. So we include a 1/4-20 tap that we recommend you putting some WD-40 on. And once all of these are installed, you just go through with a hand tool or a drill, and you just retap all those threads to make them nice and smooth and kosher. Let me flip this around and show you what this thing looks like on the van. As with any of our kits, they do come with front and rear cover panels. Here's the front one. And then this kit was modified to fit these factory foam blobs for the Promaster on both corners. Although we can cut it for no foam blobs if you should decide that. The standard hardware at the time of filming this video is stainless steel, although we can provide black oxide. And this kit will come with all of your puck lights included, and they're ready to install, wire up. They're just a little 12 volt, nothing crazy. If you're curious, this customer in particular has I believe it's the Velvet. It's kind of like the Dometic, but it's a 48 volt Velvet, and we had to make a little bit of a cover for this because it does stick out quite a bit. And then it's just a simple max air fan in the front. But once this thing is all put together and tied in, it really is a thing of beauty. A few closing thoughts about this ceiling kit that are worth sharing is, number one, this comes in different material options. So this can come in maple or bamboo at the time of filming, although we may have more if you're watching this later in the future. Number two, this is the most improved version of the Promaster kit. I do not see very many other iterations. Wow, that was the most non-first English language answer. I don't see us making a whole lot of changes to the ceiling kit in the future, although the walls have plenty of work to do, as you can see. We'll get to that another date. The other item worth mentioning is installing this is not difficult. It's not highly technical, but it's also not easy. Anybody can do this on a Saturday. Anybody can do it alone, but it'll be much easier if you take your time, you go slow, read the directions, and have a friend to help you. Last but not least, this is meant to be installed and uninstalled using hand tools. We do not use power tools, in particular when we're putting machine screws into Rivnut. That's just general practice, but it helps along the way. So in short, I'd like to thank a few customers in particular. You know who you are, for recommending changes like this. This is why our kits continue to get better and iterate every single day. So thank you all in the community for helping us build a better Promaster kit. We're going to keep trucking along. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Of course, our Facebook page, facebook.com/Serg Supply, is open for anybody who has some insight on how they did their ceiling. Maybe you have some better ideas or tricks you learned along the way that could help the next guy. In any case, we look forward to connecting with you guys. Thanks again for watching, and happy building.